Hi everyone. So before I start this presentation, I need to notify you all it involves the topic of suicide and self-harm. So if you are sensitive to these topics or find those topics to be particularly triggering, please do not continue watching this video. Thank you. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the story of a girl under the pseudonym Emily, who was diagnosed with pediatric bipolar disorder. First of all, what is bipolar disorder? So this is an extreme shift in mood and behaviors that can result in a high, known as a manic episode, or a low, known as a depressive episode. Now meet Emily. When she was 4 months old, her parents adopted her from Korea. Throughout her early years, she was a lively and bright child who was always at the head of her class, starred in her school plays, and enjoyed dance and gymnastics. However, when she turned 11, she began to experience extreme fits of anger and had many temper tantrums. Many of these were a result of her not wanting to go to school, and her parents contributed this to identity and race issues from being adopted and racism within her school. Once she started having panic attacks and began hyperventilating over the thought of school, her parents decided to get in touch with an adoption therapist, who soon realized that this was more of a psychological disorder. Once getting in touch with a psychiatrist, they determined that she actually had anxiety that materialized itself into anger. After slight medication and therapy, Emily still refused to go to school, and by the end of 7th grade, she began having suicidal thoughts, and even formulated a plan to carry out her own suicide. After a week in the hospital that did more damage than good, they began taking Emily to an outpatient center, where the psychiatrist diagnosed her with pediatric bipolar disorder, since the antidepressants she was taking made her manic. Finally, all the pieces began to connect, and her parents realized that they now knew what was going on with their daughter. So bipolar disorder is classified as an emotional disturbance in an IEP, and some commonly seen behaviors of bipolar disorder that can be seen within Emily are extreme irritability, sleeping too much, depression, separation anxiety, rapidly changing moods, and explosive, lengthy, and often destructive rages. Some other behaviors that she did not experience, but many others do, are daredevil behaviors, night terrors, sleeping too little, impaired judgment, etc. The support and needs of this student in particular have a lot to do with her anxiety. Because she is a perfectionist, she needs a lighter workload than other students, and to be aware of upcoming assignments long before they are due so she can feel a sense of order. She also has a pass that she can use in school if she ever gets too overwhelmed and needs to go to the counselor's office. Due to her depression, she tends to sleep too much and misses school because of it. This gets increasingly more difficult in the colder months because of the lack of sunlight, so she needs a light box seasonally to try to combat this. She's mainly in general education curriculum, but her two electives are group therapy and individual therapy with her therapist. However, she does need special help in language arts because she has a hard time organizing her thoughts since her anxiety leads to her overthinking. The most important accommodation she has is her pass to leave class if she ever feels uncomfortable or overwhelmed. While most teachers respected it, one case in which an administrator refused her to utilize it resulted in them being fired. This occurred when Emily was in 10th grade and sitting through a presentation about drugs and alcohol. Once the presenter began discussing topics of suicide, Emily told the administrator that she needed to leave. Instead, the administrator yelled at her for not complying and told her that she, of all people, needs to know this the most. Once Emily got home, she immediately self-harmed, which is an unhealthy habit that people use to regulate their emotions by focusing on the physical pain rather than the emotional pain. This incident was so traumatizing for her that she refused to go to school for 2 months straight. After telling me the story, Emily's mom discussed how 2 out of every 10 adults with bipolar disorder commit suicide, which occurs due to situations like these and other hardships they face throughout their lives. Something that has stuck with me since this interview is how Emily's mother talks about the difficulties of having a child with mental health issues. Fortunate for them, both she and her husband have a master's degree and adequate health insurance to get Emily the help she desperately needs. However, many families are not that fortunate, or the parent simply doesn't care at all, so the child can end up never getting diagnosed and won't have anyone advocating for them. And as you can see in the picture on the screen, 1.3 million children in the United States have depression, 1.8 million have anxiety, and these are just the people who are diagnosed. There are many other cases. As a future teacher, I've gained some insight into how to address a child who has bipolar disorder or other related mental illnesses. First of all, you must be ready to be flexible in assignments and presentations. You need to realize that it may be overwhelming for them to have a time limit or different preparation and presentation requirements. Next, be receptive to change and collaborate with doctors, parents, and other professionals to meet the best needs of the child. And most important of all, which might seem the most minuscule, is to have a sense of humor. Teachers who can laugh at their mistakes and bring light into the classroom reduce the stress that students feel and allow them to feel safe. To ensure this, we must also educate our other students on mental health to ensure that they give a helping hand to those who are struggling. We must destroy the stigma. I hope you all learned a little something about bipolar disorder through this presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.